Well, hello, folks out there in YouTube land. Got a big show lined up for you. Let's get right on into it. All right. Yeah, we got a new voice of the Vols, and it's a voice you've heard many times before. Also, looks like Tim Banks is probably going to be staying at UT. We're going to talk all about that. All right. So Mike Keith has been named the new voice of the Vols. He's following up Bob Kessling, who has recently retired. And, of course, he followed up John Ward. Now, he's been the voice of the Titans for over 2 decades. I didn't realize it had been that long. And I know many of you have heard him call the games. And you're going to hear a lot of sack. That's his trademark thing that he likes to do. And he's been a Tennessee guy forever. He actually started out working for John Ward back in the 80s. Then he called baseball games from the early 90s to the late 90s. He also had a daily sports talk radio show for almost a decade on WIVK. I remember listening to him many times. So this is a Tennessee guy from start to finish, and the fact that he's now the voice of the Vols makes perfect sense. And I'm sure he'll finish out his career here just exactly the way that Bob Kessling did or John Ward. I doubt he'll ever take another job. And this is the guy that Danny White wanted, our athletic director. He said, "We got our guy. Welcome home, Mike." And here a guy put in here a touchdown by John Ward. So I think this makes all the sense in the world. And I think everybody will be happy with this. So that's some good news for the Vols. The other good news, it certainly appears to me that Tim Banks is going to be staying. Clemson has stopped their pursuit of Tim Banks. And you're seeing that all over X and all over the news. It says Tim Banks is no longer a candidate for Clemson. It says all signs pointing to Banks staying at Tennessee. And a few days ago, we heard that Miami was no longer in the running for him either. And this makes a lot of sense because if you think about it, he's already the defensive coordinator at Tennessee. Why would you want a sideways move when he's got a contract sitting on his desk at Tennessee? And I'm sure it's a nice one. Probably got himself a nice raise by going out and talking to these other teams, which is, look, that's what everybody does that's in that position. And he might have been a little bit annoyed that his contract was not extended past this January. He was working on a 1-year deal, and that probably concerned him. Now, if he was up for a head coaching job, I would think he'd already be gone. That's what I thought was going to happen after this year. He had a great run this season. The defense was in the top 5 in almost every category. But because we struggled against Ohio State, that probably hurt him a little bit as far as his viability as a head coach at a high Division I school, which is what he's holding out for. There's no point in him going to an FCS school and being a head coach or something along those lines. He needs to hold out for a big-time job and just go ahead and sign a 2-year deal here or whatever extension they give him because it'll be a good one. I think he makes $1.5 million now a year. He'll probably end up at around $2 million, which is the going rate for a really good defensive coordinator. Assistant coaches now make what head coaches used to make. I remember Philip Fulmer used to make $2 million a year, and that was right after he won the Natty. So now we've got a defensive coordinator that's going to be making that amount of money. That is how things work now. It's just the way it is. So we went through the whole thing with Nico. He's staying, obviously. The whole deal with Mike Matthews, which was a whole uproar. He's staying. Tim Banks. And that's every school's going through this for the most part. You've got to re-sign your quarterback. You got to re-sign your best wide receivers, your best offense. I mean, you just got to re-sign everybody. It's free agency. And we're getting ready to go into revenue sharing. The NIL is going to change. There's going to be a whole lot of changes over the next 12 months, and it's going to be messy, very messy. And I can already read the comments in the comment section. It's going to be, money is ruining college football. Look, I'm not going to sit here and argue with you one way or the other. I'm just telling you this is how things are rolling.
This is fine. I'm okay with the events that are unfolding currently.
And this revenue sharing is going to change quite a few things. Let's also talk about tonight's ball game. We've got Penn State versus Notre Dame at 7:30. And I told you in a video yesterday, I think Notre Dame's going to win this game. They're favored by 2 points. I think they should be favored by 5, 6, 7. Notre Dame has more talent than Penn State, and they've had a tougher road. You know, they had to go through Georgia, whereas Penn State had to go through SMU, Boise State. And they spend more money on NIL. They've just got a little bit more talent. So I'm thinking Notre Dame wins this ball game. I like their quarterback situation, although Drew Aller's very good for Penn State. They've got a very good running game. It wouldn't shock me if Penn State won, not at all. But I'm like 2/3 thinking that Notre Dame's going to win this ball game. Then we've got the next ball game, which is Friday night. Ohio State at Texas, again at 7:30. And I've told you, if Ohio State plays the game that they played the last two, nobody's going to stop them. Texas is really good talent-wise. I don't think Quinn Ewers can score enough points to get them past Ohio State. Ohio State just needs to keep running their offense the way they have, wide open. Quit being conservative. Quit worrying about Lou Holtz saying you're soft.
Now, Gomer's got you all keyed up again.
I'm not keyed up.
I wish he'd have thought that before our ball game. But anyway, I think Ohio State will end up beating Texas, and then we'll see Notre Dame versus Ohio State. We'll see. You know, anything can happen against a team like Texas. They got plenty of talent, so it would not shock me if Texas won. I just think Ohio State probably will. Anyway, a lot of big news here in Tennessee. And, oh, by the way, I heard the Amari Jefferson, who's the wide receiver we got out of Chattanooga, he had gone to Alabama because of Nick Saban. We were like number 2 in his recruiting. And he was a top 200 player, real strong 4-star. So picking him up was nice. We needed a good quality wide receiver to go along with Mike Matthews and the other guys we've got in there, Brazil. And we're probably going to need another one. But I listened to him today on Off the Hook, and that dude's smart as crap. He is articulate, intelligent, reasonable. He's going to make our culture even better. And I do not believe that Coach Heupel will have the first problem with him. A great athlete. So I think that was just a really good pickup for us. Anyway, if you like this content, be sure to hit that like button. Let's remember to continue to cover all these big college sports stories. If you've not subscribed, hit this little button right here. It will not cost you a dime. Help you get my videos. And right over here is the most recent video YouTube thinks you'll enjoy based on your viewing history. We'll see you next time on Sports Talk J.
Engage.